One more piece of evidence I just realized as I'm looking at the stamp from the U.S. Postal Service. They claim they filed it on April 10th, which was already 11 days late, but didn't bother to mail me one. And so they sent 2 copies, one uncertified, the other certified, which was unnecessary. But notice the Postal Service, when they claim that the church has filed. Come on. Can you see it there? The date? I don't know if it's clear enough. April 23rd. April 23rd. Which means they responded after I sent my motion through the proper process in the email, which is what they should have done. The post office confirms that they did not send me the filing. And so again, if I were to respond, had they done this properly, but they didn't, but again, the Postal Service is the evidence against them for filing late. Case closed. Case dismissed. So, unbelievable. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Travis Wingate still worn out from waking up in the middle of the night with a dream. It came. One certified mail, the other just regular mail. So yeah, we'll open them up, see what surprise Tweedledee and Tweedledum are providing. If you remember, they finally claimed that they sent it certified. So the only explanation was they didn't send it through the proper process. So they must have sent it through the mail. And so yeah, they came today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man. Okay, this is certificate of service. Doing it through the mail. This is the notice of appearance. For Taylor. And this is the notice of appearance for Swen. And then motion to dismiss. Alright. Let me factual background argument. So it's a long one. But again, remember, they even date it 11 days late. Order granting defendant's motion to dismiss, which is what I forgot to put on mine, but then sent the other day. Alright. Hold off on certified mail one. Alright. Defendant respectfully asks. They don't need to put respectfully. It's an unnecessary addition. The court to dismiss all the plaintiffs' amended civil rights claim with prejudice. Notice how they put with prejudice. I probably should have put that with my order. It is frivolous on its face. What is? What is it? The plaintiff's amended civil rights claim with prejudice? That's what you're referring to? and fails to state anything close to a cognizable claim. Amended civil rights claim. What the hell are you talking about, guys? I made it very clear what it was. This gives the court grounds to dismiss. No, it doesn't. Alternatively, to require the plaintiff to amend his complaint so as to comply with Rule 8's pleading requirements. Alright, so they're trying to claim that my complaint was not following Rule 8. Let's see, Federal Court Rule 8. So again, this is irrelevant because they were late. You gotta be on time in order to play the game. Claim for relief. General rules of pleading. A. Claim of relief. A pleading that states a claim for relief must contain a short and plain statement of the grounds for the court's jurisdiction. Did that. A short and plain statement of the claim showing that the pleader is entitled to the relief. Did that. Demand for, this is, okay, defenses in general. In responding to a pleading, a party must state in short and plain terms in its defense to each. That's defenses. So, demand for relief sought. Yeah, I did that. General and specific denials. Denying allegations. So, yeah, they're not being specific, they're just generally throwing out rules. Oh, Rule 8. Rule 17. So, yeah, they're not pleading requirements. So, yeah, the pleadings are specified. So, this is all BS. Factual background. So they're probably going to go into more detail, I'm assuming. Plaintiff's complaint is 50 single-space pages, typed in Times New Roman, of wandering and rambling allegations. No, they're numbered. Again, you guys can go to my video segment where I go over each and every single claim and count. They're not wandering, they're specifically organized. And so they're not understanding. That cannot and need not be summarized in this factual background. Yeah, because you can't do it. That's why you're not going to do it. But enough flavor can be provided to show that the allegations are frivolous on their face. Most allegations relate to bizarre conspiracy theories. Oh? Again, they're using the background for justification, and that's not the counts. And that's where they make the errors. The counts are specific, and they're not wanting to go over that. Instead, they're trying to muddy up the case by talking about the initial statement for justification. Let's see, the defendant has been working with and doing the bidding of the Russians in destroying America and supporting the Russians' puppet president of the United States. And so, again, right there, that's from the narrative. I have been attacked by Russian trolls and hackers. Those are not conspiracy theories. These are actual, so again, they're just wanting to make claims which are actual facts. I have been attacked by Russian trolls. They've confessed to me. I've caught them in the act. So this is all from the initial thing. And so the notice, or the narrative notice at the beginning, is not the allegations. And that's what he's saying here. Most allegations relate. No, these are not in my counts. These are not the counts. Let me pull out my lawsuit so I can get the right title for what this is I'm trying to explain. See, even as I'm not coherent, I'm coherent enough to know that they're wrong. Okay, so this way then? Yeah. Here we go. Okay, jurisdiction. Nature of the case. That is not the counts. And that's what they say here. Most allegations. And they're referring to the nature of the case. These are not allegations. The nature of the case are not the allegations. They are the nature of the case, not the allegations. Do you guys understand that? I understand it. They don't understand it. They're purposely not understanding it. Do you guys understand it? The nature of the case is not the counts. The counts begin way right here. Counts under 1. RICO Act, U.S. Code 1961, 4. And then I put in 4. Enterprise, including any individual, partnership, corporation, association, or other legal entity, and any union or group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity. Count 1. The defendant claims true succession from the 1830 organization. Evidence shows the defendant is not the legally recognized successors in the decision of the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints complainant v. The Church of Christ at Independence, Missouri. How is that a conspiracy theory? It's not. That's an actual United States court or case filing. It's in the archives. I obtained a copy of it so that I can present it as the evidence when we go to present the evidence before a decision for a trial. And so, yeah, the churches claim that they are the true succession. False. And that's the fact. And that's that's what they are distracting from. And if they had started from the beginning rather than distracting. See, because today is the 25th. I was supposed to file by midnight last night to respond to this crap, which I got today, a day late, because they filed it late and didn't give me the copies that I'm now receiving a day late, which they were already 11 days late. Alright, so do you understand what they're attempting to do here? The nature of the case is what they are calling my allegations. My allegations are the counts. And in the counts, I do not put what they call bizarre conspiracy theories, which they've used the incorrect definition of conspiracy theory. And all those who are involved in conspiracy theories purposely abuse the definition of conspiracy theory. That's why it exists incorrectly in our society. And so, yeah, all of this is from the nature of the case. And so all of this is irrelevant. Here we go. Next paragraph. Many of the allegations raise purely religious disputes. No. Because here's one right here at the bottom of the page that they refer to one of the counts. The defendant and their agents would threaten my eternal exaltation in the afterlife if I didn't pay a full and faithful tithe. ... They know better. The count that they're referring to refers to racketeering. And racketeering always takes money from people under the guise of a legitimate business. And here they are saying, oh, we're a religious. It's a religious dispute. You see what they're pulling? They're trying to claim they can commit a crime because they're using the cover of a religion. Just like Tony Soprano said, hey, we can commit a crime because we're a sanitation business. And I dealt with that in the nature of the case, which they don't bring that one up. So, yeah, this is all BS, and I don't need to respond through it because I already sent my motion in, explaining that I would be late if I were to wait for them to finally send it, even though they are in default. So, yeah, I don't need to respond to any of this. Oh, you don't put the page number in here. That's from the nature of the case. 54. Here, let's see. In the amended complaint, where plaintiff finally does accuse the church of wrongdoing. Finally, I think stealing people's money, guaranteeing them an afterlife, that's a wrongdoing. His allegations are conclusory and simply bizarre. The defendant sues coded hate speech directed generally at me. Oh, it's a typing error, either on their part or mine, if they're typing it correctly. And it's supposed to be uses coded hate speech directed generally at me through public general conferences, and teaches their agents to perpetuate such hate speech for which I am directly attached with. And so, yeah, that's under the hate speech part. Conclusory. Yeah, they are purposely withholding the examples I gave. So, yeah, these are not conclusory. You purposely withheld information from the lawsuit. To plead claims under several varying criminal and civil statutes, these claims are outlandish and without merit. Well, that's conclusory. As relief, plaintiff requests the implementation of a new economic system. No. I'm asking for all your property, all the defendant's assets. Yeah. Or in the alternative, for the defendant to relinquish control of the corporation. Yes. In order for the plaintiff to show the corruption of the organ. What? No, it's conclusory. See, they're hypocritical. They make accusations, phishing accusations, which reveal what they're doing instead. Argument. A. The court should dismiss for failure to comply with the pleading requirements of Rule 8A. Yeah, I went over that. I followed that. Of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. So, no. You guys are wrong. The amended complaint wholly fails to comply with the pleading requirements set forth. Must contain a short and plain statement of the claim showing that the pleader is entitled to relief. I did that. Should I read it? They tried to edit it or quote it, but they took out information from it. Rule 8 does not require detailed factual allegations, but it demands more than an adorned. I read Rule 8. Unadorned, the defendant unlawfully harmed me accusation. So yeah, they're just throwing things out there. So that one doesn't hold. In spite of the amended complaint's length, it does not provide defendant with any reasonable inference that it is liable for any of see, they're not purposely addressing each and every count. They're trying to claim all of it is rambling, and so therefore we can't respond because it's all rambling. Each and every single count they must account for, because that's what the law requires. You know, when you watch a TV show and they ask the jury, how do you plead? They list off for count 1 this. How do you, what the jury finds the defendant innocent, not guilty. Okay, count 2. The jury finds the defendant guilty. Oh, okay. And then 3, and so on. And so the defense has to address each and every single count. And instead what the lawyers did is said, oh, it's all rambling. They can't do that. They have to address each and every single one. Now, if they're successful in saying, okay, well, the church is a religion and therefore it can extort money, like The Sopranos, then they can get off on that. But they have to address that count where I talk about it, and they don't. It's not in here. And so and I just read to you how it applies to the defendant. Defendant claims they're the true church, and I pointed out a law that says they're not. And so, yeah, they're pulling the same stunt that the Trump lawyers and then the GOP were arguing, that the process was not right, and refused to argue about the issues. So, yeah, they're pulling the same GOP stunt. Proceeding, let's see. B, requires this court to dismiss this action sua sponte. Sponte probably refers to spontaneously, because it is frivolous. That's circular reasoning. Objection, Your Honor, circular reasoning, and fails to state a claim on which relief may be granted. See, again, it's because of the previous thing that they say, oh, it's rambling, therefore there's nothing here, therefore it's frivolous, therefore there's no claim for relief to be granted. They have to go over each count. And so, yeah, they can throw out all these other court things, but they don't apply. Not only do none of the plaintiff's claims have merit, you haven't proven it. See, again, conclusionary that they accuse me of. Has not shown any factual connection. Yes, I have. I went over it in the videos, each and every single one. Conclusion. Why is there more stuff? Certificate of service. Huh. Okay. So yeah, this is nonsense. This gets an F. If I were the teacher grading the paper, they would get an F. It's that simple. Because again, they refuse to address they said the nature of the case was the basis for the withdrawal. They threw in one of the tithing counts, refusing to address it, claiming it was a religious thing. But let's see, there's counts under 3, 4. So yeah, let's do this first one to show you an example. Counts under 1, RICO Act, 1961, 4, parentheses 4. Parentheses 4 is enterprise includes any individual, partnership, corporation, church is a corporation, association or other legal entity, and any union or group of individuals associated in fact, although not a legal entity. And so with a corporation, you have the front, which is the corporation, which was legally approved by the government for their articles of incorporation, but then you have shady deals in the guise of the corporation. And that's where RICO Act comes in. That was designed to take down these criminal organizations because they could never get the leader. They could get the guys who commit the actual crime, but never the leader. And so the RICO Act was specifically designed to take down the whole corporation from the leader on down, to connect the actions of his employees to him. And so count 1, they claim true succession. And the lawyers have to address this. And so the evidence, which I put in here, evidence shows the defendant. And thus, when I am asked to go to the next level and present the evidence listing, it will have this lawsuit and quotes from the prophets at General Conference, stating they are the true succession. And with this bicentennial year, there was a whole bunch of confessions. Oh yeah, we come from Joseph Smith. And they were throwing out the front of Joseph Smith's organization. And so they lose, claiming true succession. And it's not a religious thing. This is setting up for the RICO criminal actions of using religion as the front. And that's what I put in the nature of the case, which they called my allegations. Count 2. The defendant claims to be the true church along with succession from the 1830 organization. Evidence shows the defendant's organizers, led by Brigham Young, did not follow the founding organization's process for succession of leadership. This has to do with articles of incorporation. Technically, they could come out and claim there are no articles of incorporation of the 1830 church. But in so doing, they would have to admit that they're not the succession of that church, because it was not an officially recognized by the United States as the organization. And so if they want to claim true succession, they have to admit they didn't follow the Articles for Succession required by the original organization. If they want to claim that they're not the true successors and say that the original organization had no process, so it was just a little boys club, then yeah, but then they can't claim true succession in general conferences anymore. That this whole bicentennial year is now a fraud that they want to admit to. When it comes to legal claims, the church is stuck because they committed fraud. And so I go on here. I use the quote from section 107, 21 and 22, which is the I can't remember the legal terminology. It requires corporations to have meetings and have a statement as to how succession is to take place. Section 107, 21 to 22 is that statement. And so again, if the church wants to say, well, no, Joseph Smith never really filed articles of incorporation, wasn't an actual religion, and so we just branched off from him and did our own thing, we're not really an official organization either, then they are committing fraud by claiming that he did have, that they do have legal succession rights. And this is all white-collar criminal stuff under RICO. And they didn't address this either. And so, Edmunds-Tucker Act, count 3. The church has deceived us Mormons by not talking about the Edmunds-Tucker Act. The church was disincorporated, if they were ever incorporated in the first place. But they were sort of adopted into the territory of Utah because Brigham Young was in the Kingdom of Deseret, which was not a part of the United States. And so the Edmunds-Tucker Act was specifically designed to disincorporate the church when it became a Utah territory, one lived in the Utah territory. And then count 4, Freemasonry connections before 1842. And failing to talk about the history. And this is where I've been talking about the statements made by whatever his name was, who was related to Heber C. Kimball, and the Kimball family published the book in the Wikipedia footnote under Masonry for Heber C. Kimball. Heber C. Kimball outright lies. And if he were to actually tell the truth, and if his actual journal statements do actually reflect the truth, and that the Kimball family are purposely withholding that from the Mormons, yeah, they're busted either way. Because Heber C. Kimball is a part of that deception. And they needed to address that. Because I grew up thinking that the Constitution would one day hang by a thread, and that I would be called upon to rescue it as an elder of Israel. So yeah, this is huge, guys. This is all based on the claims that the church has for their existence. And it's all fraud. And the lawyers are just saying, Rambling. All of them. Count. And they refuse to discuss it by saying that the counts are in the nature of the case instead. And so I hope you see where the church lawyers are desperate. They were 11 days late to come up with this desperate crap. So let's get to the other one. It may be the same thing, maybe. Not sure. What was the date for this? I think they put it as filed 410. Yeah. And so they mail it to me 13 days late. So again, it's just unbelievable. Because I have 14 days to respond from the time of the filing. And they mailed it to me the day before, which it therefore got to me a day late. Alright, so certificate of service. Notice this is now certified. So they filed them both together and mailed them at the same time, both arriving together. Yeah, no. Yep, it's the exact same thing. Certified. So, yeah. They've got no case. And they're expecting Judge First to be dumb. Because even the clerk saw it. She had to go over it because she knew that my addendum filings, which got the Judge First to order a hearing for just me, she was going to dismiss my case because you're not supposed to do addendums. You're supposed to do a whole amendment of the case. And so that's what she told me to do when I told her that the church had been paying the person who had me disappeared, which is in the counts, which the lawyers refused to address. So again, the church has no claim. And I already submitted my response within the time frame and pointing out that they were late. They are in default. That's the law. They want to come after the game is over and claim that, oh, some Rule 8 was not followed, which it was followed. I read it to you. That was it. That was all it contains. And so, no. They're wrong. And so we now are going to wait because I submitted my reply. So now we just wait for Judge First. And may I remind you, Judge First was fired because she allowed Gaddy versus COP to proceed. And because she allowed it to proceed, the Mormon judges fired her. She was passing everything. She went through 3 phases. The first 2 phases, aces. She was ready to continue working. And then Gaddy versus COP came across her desk, her bench. Oops. You know what? There was this incident you were involved in, like way back when. You're fired. Oh. And so Gaddy versus COP was reassigned to another judge who has earlier this month, dismissed her case. He did it the right way that the church wanted. But Judge Waddups, Mormon boy Waddups, assigned her a brand new case, as all her other cases were saying, well, she's no longer competent as a judge since she's been fired, so we are recusing her. They reassign her a brand new case as she's been fired. Mine. She is set to leave the bench Thursday, the 30th of April. That's her last day. And as I pointed out, she's been communicating through her webpage, generally pointing out the rules and laws for procedure and process, which I've been following. The case is over. Now the question is Judge First going to do the right thing before she leaves? Or is she going to cave to the pressure of the church, who had her fired? And it looks like she's going to wait till the final day. Deuteronomy 19:19 says, anybody who makes a false accusation is to be punished in accordance with the punishment that would have been assigned to the accused had it been a legitimate accusation. They themselves put in with prejudice. Judge First needs to grant the order for judgment to me, the plaintiff, with prejudice, according to the law of Deuteronomy. So understand, thought I just, the difference. So, it's just sad. And that Mormon bear that came onto my old YouTube channel, who I caught in a lie, right around the exact same time that the lawyers were trying to dig up dirt on me. So, but that was my case. Notice they said, what was the term they used? Bizarre conspiracy theories. The filing that I have. See, this is where they are not understanding. See, normal civil cases that get filed are under 1983, 42 USC 1983. That's one individual, one corporation that commits a crime or violation of somebody's civil rights. I didn't do that one. I checked 42 USC 1985. Conspiracy theories. And the lawyers are arguing I'm filing conspiracy theories? Exactly. So, bad news, Flash. Dukes of Hazzard, if you don't remember. This is what I've had to deal with the corruption all this time. Is just the plain ignorance that comes from being wicked. The plain stupidity. The dumb and dumberest. Is that part 3? There's Dumb and Dumber, Dumber and Dumber 2, and then Dumb and Dumbest? Something like that? I can't remember. But I mean, these lawyers are just plain out dumb to be pulling that crap. See, now if I were to respond to this, if they had filed in time and had mailed it to me, not 13 days late, yeah, I could have then proceeded. But unbelievable. They're making the claim that sending the 2 letters, and you saw me open them right here live. I didn't open them first and then do the video. I opened them live. One was certified, the other wasn't. They mailed them together, trying to cover up the fact that they were 13 days late, that they had served me. And they didn't even do it right. They don't get to do the waiver of summons process. They have to hire a service processor. And that's in the rule of summons, which rule 4, isn't it? Or is that 5? So many rules. But that's how I found out how I was supposed to serve. Because it was supposed to be judge first, given the order. She didn't. So, alright. What a day. What a nightmare. So yeah, we'll see. It looks like she's going to wait until the final day. If she doesn't do anything, it's going to be passed on to somebody else who will be a Mormon, who will immediately agree with them. And will dismiss my case. If she realizes, I don't know. We have to wait and see. And that's the sad part, is because more and more people are dying every day. For every day this slows down. So, alrighty. How hard is it to understand either hand me the keys or give me everything? Give me all your assets. Sell your assets. Give me a check for the balance. What part of that is complicated?